Salutations, everybody. It is Matty here today. We're about to party like it's 2014. This is what I was born to do. And by that, I mean look at Bethesda leaks and debunk them and then speculate. That's all I was put on this planet to do. So I'm about to just fulfill my purpose in real time. Thank you for being here. Ladies and gentlemen, today we're looking at an Elder Scrolls 6 leak. We're going to be debunking this one, unfortunately. But in light of all that, some new information has been shared that resurrects an old leak that we can look at and then in turn just speculate about what's coming to Elder Scrolls 6. And one shred of new information that's been thrown out here is a potential re-reveal date for Elder Scrolls 6. So we'll also talk about the possibility of a re-reveal for ES6 this year. Does it make sense? Is it plausible? Immediately, a lot of people are hand-waving it away, and I get that, but I'm going to get into why I think it is at least possible, leaks aside. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here. Hope you're having an excellent weekend. Let's sit down and talk about some Elder Scrolls 6, starting off with this leak that is almost certainly fake because it's just informed by massive speculation that you've likely even heard here on this channel. So where all this started was over on Reddit Gaming Leaks and Rumors, where we have a post here highlighting a post from Xstasis where it says information seems to be that the game is going to be more immersive with faster loading times. The game is going to take place in Hammerfell and High Rock. The game will have naval battles, shipbuilding, and marine/underwater exploration, plus explorable islands off coast. Dragons will return. The game is set to have 12 to 13 big cities. Progression system is much more flexible, abandoning classes for a natural progression and better combat. Can I just stop there? This thing got over 1,000 thumbs up. What progression system does that sound like? Skyrim's. And they're talking about it like it's brand new. All right, we'll keep going for a sec here. Game to have fortress and village building alongside settlement building, and the game could be shown in July of 2025, which is strange because that's a month after Xbox's usual showcase window. But this is all from, as you can see on screen here, this 4chan post, which we'll go through beat by beat in a moment here. But then that was taken and reported by Colt Eastwood. It was never shown on screen in the video I watched, but what you'll see is in the description. He did link it down there. This wasn't the first time this 4chan post has popped up. It was found on Reddit Gaming Leaks and Rumors actually 3 months ago. This is the curse and the blessing of Reddit Gaming Leaks and Rumors. Like every week I go there when I'm preparing for Defining Duke and getting my script together. So I'm always scraping rumors, just seeing what's worth talking about, what's not, what you want to give more time to. And really it lives and dies on upvotes. Like I guess any Reddit thread, but it really lives and dies on upvotes, where a rumor that, as you can see on the timestamp up there, rejected 3 months ago, and people were like, this is obviously fake, will now resurface because it's information under a different insider's name who's clarified as a tier 2 insider on their forum, and in turn it's much more believable. But again, this information did not come from Xstasis. He posts all the way over on his Twitter account that the information is from Colt Eastwood, but I actually trust it. I hope it's true and we can finally see the Elder Scrolls. Colt followed that up by saying that he only believes about half the info, but it sounds plausible. So again, a quick timeline. We had the 4chan post November of last year. Then Colt re-reports it recently. Then we have Xstasis, who re-reports it without much sourcing, which makes people think that this is actually brand new information from him. It turns out he's actually taking the information from Colt's video, but saying he believes it. And because it was behind the name of Xstasis, it got more traction than it otherwise did the first time it was posted around 3 months ago. Now, one thing that wasn't in Colt's video that was mentioned by Xstasis, and that's also not in this 4chan leak, is that it is getting some sort of reveal in July of this year. Now, a lot of people are like, well, there's no way. We're too soon after Starfield and its DLC. But there's a couple of things that have stood out to me about Bethesda and the changes that they've undergone. One is how they market things. In fairness, Starfield was a brand new IP. You had to introduce this to a lot of people, build out its world a little bit more. And maybe Bethesda thought that compared to what they did with Fallout 4, which was wait, reveal at the last minute because everyone knows Fallout, that Starfield was different in that you reveal it earlier, you market it for a while. Elder Scrolls 6 was revealed at the same time Starfield was. So as you're starting to see with these headlines, Elder Scrolls 6's teaser is now 6 years old, and even Todd Howard has been submitting comments on it like, yeah, it's been a while. And seems to be very disappointed in himself on the decision to reveal it that early. However, if we go back to 2023, Pete Hines did confirm that Elder Scrolls 6 is out of pre-production, and this was just right before the launch of Starfield, and that it'll be years before we hear about it, but it is in full development, as you'd expect once they move on from one big project to the other. So as we'll get into this leak in a little bit, I will say that there is a world of possibility in my eyes where, you know, you look at that initial trailer for the Elder Scrolls 6, and the vision could have shifted dramatically from 2018 to now, where we're still years away from this game actually dropping. Perhaps this is a good time to clarify the setting. Like, I do think it's going to be in the spirit of that teaser trailer of just setting and story and just establishing that this thing is the next project truly from Bethesda Game Studios and kind of setting the standard for what to expect a little bit. I also think, to be fair to Elder Scrolls fans, just as I was a hungry little Fallout fan, I think Elder Scrolls fans need a bone, man. I do. I think they need a bone thrown their way that they can chew on and speculate and dissect for a while. But here is the twist that I'm seeing every reporter forget about. Weren't we just talking about the Oblivion remake? Wasn't the rumor just that they're dropping the Oblivion remake in like June of this year, maybe even July? So why is it all of a sudden that this game no longer exists in the front half of the year for a lot of these people reporting on these rumors, and that we're going to get an Elder Scrolls 6 re-reveal alongside an Oblivion remake release? I mean, look, hello? Come on. You think I'd be complaining? Do we really think that's going to happen? Come on, don't get me excited now, but come on now. So look, I don't think that sort of stuff is happening, but what is interesting is something Juice had said in his video that I was watching on the topic, because this is what kind of called my attention to sit down and really make a video about it. Is like, I saw a lot of people talking about it. I was like, all right, fake leaks and rumors happen all of the time. But then Juice started talking about it. I was like, all right, well, now we really got to get into this, because now my Bethesda brethren are having the conversation. So one thing he did throw out here is a leak that happened on Fandom in 2020. Now, this leak, he did, alongside other Bethesda creators, reach out to the leaker, and he said there was a level of verified information in that was enough to have him just keep an eye on it. Not that it's 100% take it to the bank believable, but based on what he shared in the video, he looked over some things and it seemed like it could be at least partially legit. That is the leak that we can take a look at and at least discuss a little bit more. But before that, I want to just take a final look at this 4chan leak and squash some things, because it's actually hilarious that it even got traction at all. Todd Howard is the game director. Holy shit. No fucking way.
Wow. You sound like you really do need some help.
It says here the game is currently in pre-alpha and that the Starfield team is significantly smaller, with most of Bethesda moving on to this project, but yet there is strong crunch culture currently, which is just like, how do you have crunch culture established on a pre-alpha title that's still years away? Like, crunching is usually up to, I mean, it can exist per deadline, don't get me wrong, but this just immediately contradicts itself there. It says they overhauled the creation engine again, despite Todd Howard himself saying that the creation tech built with Starfield will be used to power Elder Scrolls 6. This was in his little talk about Bethesda's history on Wired. It has very informed speculation if you've watched any of my content, such as 2 provinces for the first time in an Elder Scrolls game, which is this title's gimmick, as the people of the team call it. The map looks like the image in the post, which is every single Elder Scrolls map you've seen before, where it's High Rock and Hammerfell right next to each other, because yes, the second gimmick is seafaring and pirate gameplay and using the procedural content from Starfield with a shipbuilder to explore procedurally generated islands and dungeons when using a ship at sea. So yeah, there's enough information in there that I think just contradicts itself or is blatantly fake or just frankly unverified, which makes it easy to throw away, and we can at least just talk about something that's mildly more interesting in the leak category for Elder Scrolls 6. The only new information that's really come out in that leak category goes down to a July re-reveal. But again, that's strange to me to re-reveal this game after the Xbox showcase. I don't know, especially when you already had Avowed, and you're going to have Fable, hopefully this year, and then you're doing Oblivion, and it's like, well, hey, here's this other Elder Scrolls thing. Maybe it's a big celebration of the Elder Scrolls IP. I don't know. Bethesda's surprised us before. But anyway, this fandom leaker had originally posted a retraction saying that this information is not factual. But then Juice had said himself and other Bethesda YouTubers reached out and said it's something worth keeping an eye on. And it's here that you see that he says that Bethesda did intend to build off of the vehicle mechanics developed for Starfield to allow traversal in the Iliac Bay, and that there's going to be some sort of customization and purchasing for it. They'll range from a rowboat to a for-sale pirate ship and can be crewed by NPCs, sort of like assigning NPCs to settlements in Fallout 4. They also mentioned spellcrafting being back. I think this is believable for a lot of people without any form of leak or verification, simply because Bethesda's content and technology always bleeds into the next game. You want to talk about a great example? It's the settlement system, right? The settlement mode that was introduced in Fallout 4 bled into 76 and then bled into Starfield, which they then made the ship crafting thing, which was one of the best parts of that game. And I don't think you just leave that there in Starfield. You bring that forward. How do you bring that tech forward? As Todd already confirmed, we're bringing that tech forward. You make some sort of ship customization, which I think would be awesome. I think it fits that Elder Scrolls spirit. I'd be all about that. But you don't need a leak to tell you that. I think it's pretty obvious that something like this is very likely to happen for Elder Scrolls 6. In fact, I'd be stunned if it wasn't. I'll go to that length. But what was interesting here is that despite it being a retracted leak, they say that it's going to release Q4 2024. They talk a bit about the DLC and that Starfield is coming that following year. This leak was posted in 2020, and I was a part of this whole leak saga with Starfield and its original release date. I remember myself and other creators coming out and saying that Starfield was planned for 2021. Then other reporters decided to say, that's a lie. That's not true. I had verifiable information. I was like, okay, I'll take my L if it's actually that fake, but okay. Turns out there were two ways we verified that information was actually true. And I'll always bring that back up because, yeah, it still kind of bugs the hell out of me. I'm not going to lie. But we got the FTC leak, which is like literal documentation from Bethesda themselves. They planned on launching Starfield in 2021, sometime fiscal year 21, and Elder Scrolls 6 in 24. If that wasn't enough, though, Phil Spencer himself sat down and confirmed that Starfield was supposed to release much earlier than 2022, but that they gave Bethesda time to cook. And we saw the transformation between the re-reveal in 2022 and what we got at the end of 2023, where the game visually looked way better and more polished. So going back to this leak here, similar dates to the FTC leak, similar dates to what we got from Phil Spencer, at least in one area, a window. So I look at that and I'm like, I get where Juice is coming from. I'm kind of looking at this and thinking, there might be a little something worth keeping your eye on here. Oh, it's also probably worth clarifying, like, I'm not one of the Bethesda creators who reached out to this individual. Anyway, last thing that they said that I thought was of note, because a lot of it was also like narrative stuff, but the game world is not being sacrificed for this new mechanic being the ship faring. They say, based on what I've seen and heard, Daggerfall will be the biggest city Bethesda's ever built. They're taking notes from CD Projekt Red for creating the feeling of a dense and bustling city while still trying to maintain their motif where every character lives there and has a schedule. And that sounds like at least an attempt to go back to Bethesda proper. So yeah. Again, I thought it would be fun to just sit down and talk about Elder Scrolls 6, but more than anything, I thought it was important to debunk the leak from 4chan and just kind of display how you can see information stringing from one place to the other and proper sourcing and how important it is, and just how something that was months ago shut down, you know, back in November, can just come back up under a different name and end up being true. That's no disrespect to anyone who was talking about it, but just I think even in the framing of that conversation, that initial conversation came across like it was much more legitimate than it actually was. I just hope more than anything, Bethesda, you know, takes their time with Elder Scrolls 6. The pressure's there, no doubt about it. I know the comment section by this point is either going to be saying to me how unexcited they are about Elder Scrolls 6 because of Starfield and Shattered Space, which, okay, I get. Or it's going to be about how stupid I am for sitting here being in a good mood while talking about a Bethesda game. It's going to be one of those two things. But, you know, I want to hear from you, for those who have listened this deep and haven't written in the comments down below. Like, what do you think about the Elder Scrolls 6 and what this game can pack in it? I just hope Bethesda, more than anything, focuses on organic exploration. If they're going to do procedural stuff with, say, those islands, like, let's say, because I could just, that sounds like Bethesda. I would love to hear a game from them that said the only procedurally generated thing is the landmass of which everything was built upon. So it's like we generated this world and everything we put in it is handcrafted. That would skyrocket my excitement to the umpteenth degree after all the concerns we had pre-launch Starfield. And also if the questing was, hey, hot take, I guess, as great as Starfield. I love the questing in Starfield. It was just, you know, the seamless exploration wasn't there. So I still think Bethesda has the potential to do something interesting here. I'm going to keep my eyes wide open, though, when it comes to this release and try to keep good self-control this time around. So we'll see how things go. But do you think we see Elder Scrolls 6 this year? I always think there's a possibility of it just because Bethesda's changed how they market things. But I'm looking forward to hearing from you. So fire away. Other than that, take excellent care of yourselves, and I will see you in the next video. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.